Smriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-Pada Shankaram Loka-Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra-Bhashya-Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punapuranam. Bhashyakshara-bhagyam cha etad-vyakhyana Yukti-bhagyam cha etad-vyakhyana. See, that was then Mithya-jnana nimitto vyavaharaha ityevatu bhashyam. चलो कोई बात नहीं जी. See, the definition of ignorance as something material. The definition of ignorance is not something different. It's like, I'll tell you, this you have to capture somehow. The whole clue is here. You see? Supposing you don't know French. You can't say this is French and this is ignorance about French. There is only French existence, understood and ununderstood. You cannot refer to ignorance because there is no such a thing called ignorance is another thing. There is only a reality understood or a reality ununderstood. There is Brahman understood or there is Brahman ununderstood. You can't say this is Brahman and this is ignorance. You can't count them as two things. This is me and this is the ignorance about me. There is only me understood. Me and ignorance is not separately within experience. All the time what is within experience is a reality understood. A reality that is within experience but understood also. Or a reality that is within experience but not understood. So what is constantly within experience is only a reality understood or ununderstood, not ignorance. That's another thing. Therefore, the very language that we use is wrong. Ignorance about this is a wrong expression. There is nothing wrong in using it as long as you interpret that ignorance of French means nothing but the existence of French ununderstood. The ignorance of Brahman, this expression, there is nothing wrong about it as long as you interpret it to mean existence of Brahman ununderstood. Existence of Brahman means experience about its existence. Self-ignorance is nothing but self-ununderstood. But generally what we do is, we count them as two things. This is self and this is ignorance. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It is the rope ununderstood looks the snake. Straight on, understand. Rope ununderstood is misunderstood as snake. This is bhashyam. This is called adhyasa. This is called the error. So, rope ununderstood is misunderstood is what is within our experience. If somebody were to come and tell us the ignorance about the rope slowly changes and stands as the snake on the rope, the ignorance about the rope transforms to become the snake. Can you feel convinced? Can you feel convinced? The ignorance about myself transforms and becomes the world. Why? Fundamentally, you cannot perceive ignorance. You cannot experience ignorance. All that is experienced is a reality understood or a reality ununderstood. It's a big thing, G. Generally, we always think, traditionally, conventionally, and due to ignorance, due to non-understanding about ourselves, you see, we always think we are born in ignorance. So the whole realm is a realm of ignorance. We live in the realm of ignorance. We live and die in the realm of ignorance seems to be very convincing. That's not true. We are born in the realm of the truth ununderstood. We live in the realm of the truth ununderstood. We resolve in the realm of the truth ununderstood. There is a difference between saying that we are born in the realm of the truth ununderstood and born in the realm of ignorance. Does it make a difference? Yes, as far as I am concerned, it makes huge difference. Jameen asmaan fark hai. Jameen asmaan fark hai. As much difference between light and darkness. What is the difference between right and wrong, Ji? What is the distance? Between right and wrong, what is the distance? Infinity. Ram, Ram, Ram. People say, kya farak padta hai? In fact, the only realm where farak padta hai, Vedanta correctly understood and Vedanta correctly not understood, farak padta hai. Leave out the truth in the realm of the ignorance about the truth. Kuch farak nahi padta. Whether you live in Delhi or Bombay, kya farak padta hai? क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Whether you live in Greater Kailash or Jamradpur, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Why? Because the one who lives in Greater Kailash has got his own problems and his own kind of pleasures and pains, and Jamradpur wala also has got his own kinds of pleasures and pains. He has got his own Jamradpur pleasures. Wherever you go, you have its kind of pleasures, the Indian kind of pleasures and pains, the American kind of pleasures and pains. Why? Because the principle of creation is wherever you go, you have to share the pleasures with pains. In this creation, कहीं कुछ फर्क पड़ने वाला नहीं है. The फर्क is only, the difference is made only when I understand my existence. Vedanta understood makes a difference. That's only. The difference is made only by this realm. So Vedanta understood means something, Vedanta ununderstood means something. Truth understood means something, ununderstood means something. But in the realm of self-ignorance and self-error, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. मुझे suppose I'm a vegetarian and a non-vegetarian. फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Don't unnecessarily. Be a vegetarian. Be a vegetarian. But don't make a big issue out of it. Oh, I'm a great vegetarian. I said someone, I'm a vegetarian. He said, you eat the whole life you have been eating grass? Say there may be difference, but don't make an issue of these non-issues. Even if you are a Dharmaputra, Yudhishthira, not a big difference. Why? Because despite his dharma, he had to suffer, he had to enjoy pleasures and pain. Despite the dharma, what is the advantage he gained? What is the advantage? And even if he gained the advantage, it is temporary anyway. In fact, you gain advantage only by knowing truth. That's the only thing that makes a difference. He is looking at your existence. Is one's existence a myth or a reality? And therefore, one says here, there is, to say that the universe is a product of self-ignorance is wrong. The universe is an appearance of the truth ununderstood is right. To say it is a product of ignorance is wrong. And having said that it is a product of ignorance, then you have to reinterpret, meaning it is an appearance of the truth ununderstood. Why use a wrong phrase and then go about correctly interpreting it? Why don't use the right phrase? Life is an appearance of the truth ununderstood. Thus, interpreting ignorance as a material stuff capable of transformation. And I will give you another. Some of the details you may not understand when you read. These are the details which are not known to many people. These people who interpret ignorance as something that transforms to become the matter, they say, how can the truth be the source of matter? When the source is conscious and the creation is inert, how can there be a source-creation relation? Therefore, we have to imagine it is not the Brahman that is the source of the matter, immediate source of matter. The source of matter is ignorance, because ignorance is also inert. Ignorance is inert and its transformed product also is inert. Ignorance has Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and the creation also has got 3 gunas. I say, is creation born of causation? Where there is causation, you have to think like this. The qualities of the effect must conform to the qualities of the cause. Where there is causation, conformity of the causal qualities, the conformity of the qualities of the effect. The qualities of the effect must conform to qualities of the cause. Where there is causation. The qualities of the curd must conform to the qualities of the milk. But between the rope and snake, the qualities of the snake need not conform to the qualities of the rope. Why? Because it is distortion, not causation. Distortion is different from causation. You have to dwell on this point. Life is a perception about the truth. Life is not caused by the truth. Snake is not caused by the rope. Snake is not caused by the truth, by the rope. Life is not caused by Brahman. Life is a perception. It's a wrong perception about the truth. It is anadi perception. Why? Because even this perception I can't trace. This wrong perception about the truth I can't trace to time. Because time itself is a part of the perception. When it comes to anadi perception, you can't ask for the cause of it. Because don't ask for what is the cause of the error is wrong. The errors don't have cause. Because error is not within the realm of causation. Error is not an effect. The cause of the curd is milk. But don't say the cause of the snake is rope. No. The reality, because the snake is a distorted, it's a correctable perception about the rope. That's why education solves the problem. Education solves the problem because it is a distorted perception. Now can you correct a curd? Can you correct curd? I'll give you a nice episode about this. It will be interesting. When I was living in Shivananda Ashram, how many years ago? 40 years. Satyavame. There was one person called, and I still remember his name, Mr. Kamath, from Karnataka. Silver long beard, silvery beard. 75-year-old. He came to the ashram and they gave him a job. Please listen to this episode correctly. It's very interesting how. Yesterday I told you, Umra gaya saath. 16 duni 8. So true. He was given a job of ringing the bell, as per the time. If it is 1 o'clock, 1. If it's 2 o'clock, 2. If it's 3 o'clock. You understand, So he has to give a bell. Just tell the ashram people the time. Very big bell. Like railway station, like that. And at that time I had entered the ashram and I used to watch him do whatever. He is the one who used to say, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. There is a mosquito going. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Because he is supposed to chant Hare Rama throughout 24 hours. Then he also has to give bell. This is the context. Now what I am telling you is coming to the causation. It's very interesting how you can't correct causation. If you try to correct causation, you will look funny. It happened to be 9 o'clock. And he rang the bell 10 times. So he made a mistake. Now what he did, he cancelled it out. You understand, He cancelled it out. And again he rang. ऐसा होता है cancellation? Why? Because it is an event. An event cannot be, causation cannot be corrected. If you try to rectify causation, that will be another causation. Disease is causation. And when you take medication, that is again causation. Causation corrects causation. Not understanding corrects causation. Understanding corrects only error, distorted perception. How much I love to show the distinction between the two. Really. Because the heart and soul of Vedanta lies there. Human beings are so used to thinking in terms of causation. Disease is causation. And medication also is causation. Causation can reverse causation. That's different. You release an arrow, and before it reaches the target, you release another arrow which is faster and divert its course. What is diverting the first arrow? The second arrow. The first arrow is functioning in the realm of causation. The second arrow also is functioning in the realm of causation. You use causation to rectify the results of causation. But causation cannot be, the results of causation cannot be rectified through any right understanding. Mere understanding doesn't. It happens to be the rope, and if I see it as snake, there is no causation in it. It is a misconception. Their sheer understanding solves the problem. By just knowing that it is not snake, it is rope, solves my problem. Similarly, here in one's existence, the sheer understanding that my existence is not synonymous with the form. My existence is aparoksham. It has the status of being the subject. The subject cannot be objectified, whereas the body is objectified. The subject cannot be objectified by the senses, whereas the body is objectified by the senses. The subject is the very soul of the senses, whereas the body is the object of the senses. The very sheer discerning between the body and the subject solves my problem of mistaking, problem of looking at myself as a form, and on that particular perception hinge the whole samsara. The whole samsara hinges on the thought that I am the form. Understand this. Yes. Samsara is not serious. But such as what is most serious matter is that it exists so precariously, like even nasikagre padaramyata, like an apple on your, like a berry on the tip of your nose, and yet it is stuck. I am not doing anything to shake it off. That is a serious matter. Samsara is not serious. It is very precariously there. Samsara is not serious, but it is very precariously there, like a berry on the tip of my nose. But what is serious in life is that I do nothing to shake it out. I take it for granted. That is jiva. Why? Because in order to shake it off, I must have this culture with me, which all the time dwells on something called the subject and the body, the object. The education must, the culture must center on the body and the soul as distinct. The culture must all the time turn my attention to the self and the body. The culture must all the time talking about the truth, the distinction between the truth and the form. Where the whole culture is talking only about the truth and the form, where the whole culture is talking only about the truth, or it is talking about something that is related to understanding the truth, that facilitates understanding. Either it is directly the truth or something related to the truth. It is not easy for the rustic jiva to think in this direction. Please understand. It is not possible for the rustic jiva to think in the direction of the subject. He cannot put aside the sense pleasures and then look within at the subject. And therefore, what is serious in life is that man doesn't do anything. Thus, coming back to our point, this is all introduction. Amiji, this is all introduction. All introduction. Thus, Mula Vidya is Bhashyakshara Bhakyam. Mula Vidya is also Yukti Bhashyam. It is not mentioned in Bhashyam. It is also not logical. Why? There is no experience of something called ignorance as separate. You can't experience this is ignorance. You see, when I see the cow and a horse, I can see the horse without seeing the cow. I can see the cow without seeing horse because they are two separate things. But you can't experience ignorance without experiencing the subject matter of that ignorance, the object of that ignorance. All the time what we experience is only a reality understood or ununderstood. Therefore, what is life? It is truth seen that way. Now let us move. All these things, are the same thing. The Bhashakshara Bhashya means Adhyaso, Mithya, Pratyaya, don't worry, just go on seeing this. Sasharirattvasya Mithya Jnana Nimittatvad, it's all quotations. Mithya Pratyaya Nimittatvad, Sasharirattvasya Mithya Jnana Nimittaha, Sharirasya Upabhogaha, Mithya Jnana Kalpitaha Upabhogaha, Mithya Vimana Brahma Nimittaha, Eva Dukkhanubhavaha, Yathartha Buddhi Purva Nimishtaya, Mithyabuddhehe nivartika bhavati ityadi prayoga darshanat. All these quotations are given here just to show that Shankaracharya Bhashyakara does look at the embodiment not as a product of ignorance but as an error about the truth. It is truth misunderstood. He looks at embodiment as truth ununderstood and misunderstood, rather than a product of ignorance. It's not a product of ignorance. Even if we use the term product of ignorance, there is nothing wrong as long as it means only truth misunderstood. Swamiji, we hear everywhere, this all life is a product of ignorance, this all product of dukkha is a product of ignorance, etc., etc. Those are ठीक है, but then it has to be correctly. Phrase you can use anything. You can use any phrase. What you say is, and you can say anything, but mean correctly. You should mean what is right. You can say any language, you can say any word. But what do you mean? Uktam is different, Vivakshitam is different. Vivakshitam is tattparya. Uktam is what is said. Nachiketa's father told Nachiketa, go to hell. And he actually went to Lord Yama. Then later on, Yama's father said, my God, that is what I said, but that's not what I meant. See, the problem Always, interaction with the people becomes better when you go by what they mean rather than what they say. What they say. Ignore the words. Take into account their intentions. Sometimes a person may say sweet words but means bitterness. You should go by inner motives. Sometimes, a mother sometimes is very harsh. But does he mean harsh? मेरे कान ऐसा खींचूंगा दोनों कान हमारे हाथ में आ जाएंगे. Does it mean that? And the mother says, to the child, ऐसा कान खींचूंगा जो हाथ में आ जाएंगे. ऐसा कभी होगा? In fact, a lot of problems are there because we go by what others say. Especially in relationships like children, parents, grandparents, even others who are together, they should not go by what he just said. Because we are all under pressure and say sometimes harsh words, so it doesn't mean it. But anyway, here, even if you say this is all a product of ignorance, it doesn't matter. But the intention is to show it's nothing but truth misunderstood. That means life is rooted in ignorance or the truth? The truth. That itself gives a lot of relaxation in life. This thought, we are exiled from truth, is a wrong thought. Vedic culture doesn't accept it. We are not exiled from the truth. We are rooted in the truth. We can't be other than the truth. We can't be other than the eternal. Association or identification with the non-eternal form doesn't mean really one becomes. It is a temporary, it is a negatable illusion. What is anaditvam in comparison to eternity? A correctible anadi era, a correctible timeless era. A correctible timeless era is no match to the timeless truth, which is unnegatable. However long the time negatable has been, however long, however ancient the negatable has been, from however ancient times the negatable has been, but yet it is no match to the unnegatable truth. It may be a glorious era, but negatable, no match to the unnegatable. Therefore, don't say we are exiled from truth and all those things. We are all in Maya. It's a kuch nahi hai. The whole universe is the truth. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Every living being is the same truth, seen differently. That seen differently is called Adhyasa. And what we are doing is Adhyasa Bhashya. If this is understood in life, life is truth, seen differently. You will be much more happy. It is the sense of having been isolated from truth that frightens me. I am exiled from the truth. I am exiled from God. Frightens me. But we are not exiled at all. It is like a wave thinking, I am exiled from water. Kahani. Is wave a product of ignorance? wavy water. Simple. Mithya pratyaya rupa, mithya jnana. It's not some kind of it's not some effect of some ignorance. Okay, ji. Now I'm going to see another vakya. Mithya bhuta jnana upadanakaha iti vyakhyayate iti prashtavyo bhavan. I'm just, तथा च मिथ्या ज्ञान निमित्तः व्यवहारः इति अध्यासपूर्वकोऽयं व्यवहारः इत्येव व्याख्याने स्वारस्येन सम्भवति किमिति अक्षरवाक्यमेव मिथ्याभूतज्ञानोपादानकः इति व्याख्यायते इति प्रष्टव्यो भवान्. Up to that, this Mula Vidyavadi says आराम से सुनना. This Mula Vidyavadi says, without accepting a tangible material ignorance, it is very difficult to explain the universe, he says. Why? Why is it difficult to explain the snake without any transforming ignorance? When I am saying, it is the rope that is seen as the snake when the rope is not seen as rope. That is the explanation. Why do we require a changing material? Why do we require a transforming ignorance to explain the universe? Therefore, we don't have to bring in the transforming ignorance to explain life. We don't have to accept ignorance as a material and a transforming substance to explain away the universe. Why? Because error can be explained in the light of the fact. It is fact, probably perceived. It is like saying, the flatness of the earth is not a product of an effect of the ignorance about the roundness. It's not some causation bond. Flatness is not a bond of causation. Flatness is not created. When I don't see the roundness of the earth, when I don't appreciate the earth to be round, then the flatness is created, don't say. I say when I don't see the earth as round, then I see it, I conclude it as flat. Flatness is not a creation, flatness is a conclusion. Flat, the earth is flat, is a conclusion. And conclusions are corrected through right knowledge. Is it not useful in life? Understanding life as not an event but perception. It's a correctable perception. I am a Deha is a perception, correctable perception. Where the problem is a correctable perception, education becomes very relevant, is it not? Education becomes relevant, knowledge becomes the answer. And therefore here, Siddhanta asks a question, my dear Purvapakshi, you need to be asked a question. When the universe can be explained as a distorted perception about Brahma, why do you have to bring in ignorance as something that has to a changing material cause? The universe can be explained away, when the universe itself can be explained away in the light of the changeless source called Brahman. Why do you require to involve some changing material source? But Swamiji, we have a small little problem. अच्छा बताइए, A child is not born only by the father or by the mother, we require both mother and father. Brahman is the father and ignorance is the mother. Maya is the mother. Why we are bringing in the same samsara here? We are trying to get out of samsara. We are involving again samsara here. What are you talking? Don't talk like a baby. It's a talk like that. Maya is the mother. They say rope itself is, the Shruti is saying, abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. The same reality is both the nimitta and upadana. Rope is the mother for the snake. Rope is also father. In fact, the terminology makes it sound a baby stuff. Not for the thinkers, but all for the babies. Rope is a reality, ununderstood, is perceived as, hey, this fits in with the thinking. Man is Param Brahman, looks seen as is over. Yukti Bhakyam Jayetad Vyakhyanam. This particular commentary, that universe is a product of ignorance. Ignorance changes and stands as the universe. Ignorance transforms and stands as the body. Ignorance transforms and stands as the mind. Ignorance transforms and stands as time and space and form and thought. Is illogical. What stands as time, space, form, thought is not ignorance. What stands as the time, space, form and thought is the truth, Param Brahman, Bhagavan himself. But seen differently. Yes. It's a distorted perception. Yukti Bhakyam Jayetad Vyakhyanam Katham. How it is illogical? Adhyasa upadanatvena abhimatam ajnanam kim adhyasikam udana iti vaktavyam. It's all very complicated thoughts. I have to explain. Siddhartha is asking a question. Sir, you are saying ignorance changes and becomes the universe. Okay? Follow it very, very nicely. But you will bless it. Then we ask a question. You say ignorance transforms and becomes the world. Now our question is ignorance a property of the truth? Or itself is imposed, itself is an error? If ignorance is a substance, now is it parallel to the truth? Or a property of the truth? Or itself an error about the truth? Ultimately you have to accept it is an error about the truth. If it is itself an error about the truth, that means it is adhyasa. How can adhyasa be a material for adhyasa? Therefore, ignorance is not the cause for the material. Ignorance doesn't ignorance is not the changing material for adhyasa. Now let me continue with this point. You have to grasp it. If ignorance is providing material for the error, that means ignorance should not be an error, is it not? It should be material for the error. If ignorance is the material for the error, the material for the error should not be an error. If itself is an error, then it should also have another material. If ignorance is also an error, then as an error, it should have another material. That means ignorance must have another ignorance. Is it not? Then again the same question comes, if ignorance has another ignorance behind, that ignorance also should be an error, and that also should have. That means it will lead to anamastha. Which means whenever it precipitates this kind of a flaw in thinking, this kind of a problem, a deadlock, regress ad infinitum, anavastha dosha, that kind of dosha gets precipitated in the course of thinking only when the thinking has gone wrong somewhere. Suppose you go wrong in thinking, and then it precipitates a deadlock. Some kind of a problem. You can't move ahead. Then you are into circles. So in thinking, supposing you get into a kind of a situation where you are going round and round, thinking if you think correctly, it has to take you to the truth. Again, most important point. If you think correctly, it has to take you to the truth. Supposing the thinking doesn't take you to the truth, it makes you go round and round. That means somewhere we have gone wrong. And do you know what is the wrong? Don't look upon ignorance. Looking upon ignorance as the material for adhyasa is the wrong. Therefore, yukti bhakyam cheda vyakhyanam katha adhyasa upadanattvena vimarvajnanam kim adhyasikam udana iti vaktavyam. Hey, Purvapakshi, it has to be answered by you, Vaktavyapvaya. It has to be answered by you. Is ignorance itself an error or not? If ignorance is an error, then that also should have another ignorance. Tatra adhyasikatve katham purvasiddhasya adhyasasya swakalpita ajnana upadanakatvam sambhavi. How can, if ignorance itself is an error, how that error becomes the material for another error? Anadhyasikatve tu atmavat tasyapi satyattvameva prapnoti iti anishta prasangaha. Just another few minutes. Please understand. If ignorance is not an error, then it becomes a part of the truth, then it will become unnegligible. See the definition of ignorance. If ignorance is an error, then it ceases to be a material form. If it is there as a non-error, it becomes a part of the truth. Therefore, what is ignorance? Don't define it this way or that way. Don't call it an error. Don't call it a non-error. Why? Because there is no such a thing called ignorance. There is only a reality of understanding. When you deal with ignorance separately, you get into trouble. Because there is no such a thing called ignorance. There is only a reality and understanding. This is what. When I began my Vedanta, this is what really I did. It is this really that is most admirable mention made by a particular author. Most admirable unfoldment is there is no ignorance, there is only reality understood, reality ununderstood. It's the most admirable mention. It's a kind of a mention that just really excels the entire literature in God's creation. It's a kind of a mention that excels all the literature in God's creation, even the literature about the truth. It excels. There is no ignorance. There is all the time. In every situation, all that is there. Waking state is truth, ununderstood and misunderstood. Dream is nothing but the truth, ununderstood and misunderstood. Sleep is nothing but same truth, unappreciated. Don't say waking state is truth plus ignorance. Don't say that. We'll get into trouble. This plus and minus, is all meant for the become students. These accountants, don't bring in your accountants account into Vedanta. Brahma plus ignorance is Jagat. Brahma minus ignorance is moksha and all that headache. As if it is another? Yes. How can you plus and minus? In order to add, it should be separate. And what can never be separate, how can you add tea? Can you add wave to water? Man is one himself is never. Therefore, तद्राध्यासिकत्वे कथं पूर्वसिद्धो अनाध्यासिकत्वे आत्मवति स्याम सत्यत्वमेव प्राप्नोति इति अनिष्टप्रसङ्गः यच्च उक्तं कालं कालकर्मादे अध्यासमितत्वम् अज्ञानस्य च कालकर्मादिरूपेण परिणामः इति. Okay, the next we will see. The next point. Now in this class I have covered these things. Accepting ignorance as a material for the error, Ignorance being looked at as the very substance of the error is not accepted, is not according to the Bhashya. It doesn't conform to logic. And now we are going. Adhyasa. Mula Vidya Bhadis, I'm concluding it, don't worry. Pick it up right here. According to Mula Vidya Bhadi, Ajnanam he looks upon as Anadi Adhyasa. Waking state he calls it as Sadi. It happens in time. Sadi means in time. Anadi means, according to him, ignorance is Anadi, waking state is Sadi. Which is wrong. Whereas Siddhanti says, this embodiment is Anadi, Sadi Adhyasa is Rajju Sarpadhyasa is Sadi. Rajju Sarpadhyasa is Sadi. Dehohamiti Anadi. According to Mula Vidyavadi, Dehoham is Sadi. According to Mula Vidyavadi, Dehoham is Sadi. Therefore, according to him, this Sadi Adhyasa, or the Sadi Adhyasa, the ignorance which is Anadi Adhyasa, is the substance. But my question is, this Dehoham itself is not Sadi. That is another admirable mention made by Shankaracharya. Embodiment is not an event in time. Embodiment is not an event in time. It is not a resultant factor in time. It is not. Because the very causation, the very time is all within the realm of embodiment. Embodiment is not in the bowels of time. Time is in the bowels of embodiment. This creation is in the bowels of embodiment. Causation is inside the bubbles of embodiment. Embodiment itself is not in the garbha of causation. Embodiment is not in the garbha of causation. Embodiment is not in the garbha of time. It is not kalantarkata. Where is it? It is truth. Embodiment is an appearance straight in the truth. Therefore, the very definition of Sadi and Anadi, able to follow? क्या है follow नहीं के लिए ना follow के लिए कोई बड़ा ये तो संस्कृत थोड़ी पढ़ा रहा हूँ ये संस्कृत थोड़ी है ये तो साधारण ब्रह्म विद्या है संस्कृत हो तो स्वामी जी बड़ा मुश्किल है ब्रह्म विद्या में क्या मुश्किल है हरि ओम नमः शिवाय पूर्णमदः पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति शांति शांति।